Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Offside Traps. This is your host, David Fenn, and we've got Dan Fox.
Hello.
Adam Mepham.
Hello.
Dan Medlicott.
Hello.
And we're just going to dive straight in. Thanks to all the people who followed us on Twitter and have given us great feedback. We've taken it all in and we've... I don't know what I want to say now.
Ignore the negative feedback.
Yeah.
Let's dive straight in with some admin thanking people. We have to collect your homework from last week. Last week we asked you to decide what your favourite rule in the FA rulebook was.
Yeah.
So what I can see your print off there.
Oh. So I've got some print off, but I've been looking at the FA handbook, and it is a huge tome. It is absolutely massive, covering every aspect of the game, from Premier League stuff to Youth League stuff to all different leagues, to the rules of the association. And this is one detailed document, and I've read a bit of it, but you'd appreciate that it's quite long, so I just haven't had the time.
Of weeks though.
But one rule that I found quite interesting was that the size of the ball has to be a certain measurement. You know, they all have to be within I can't remember what the figures are, but there's got to be a certain measurement.
Well, you wouldn't want a beach ball.
No, you wouldn't. No. Or a rugby ball.
Yeah,
that'd be quite odd.
Be a bit weird.
Wrong shape and size. So double bill.
And also, another rule I found interesting was that all the advertising it's not allowed to be on the pitch. You're not allowed anything on the pitch, but it has to be a certain distance away from the field of play. It's quite interesting. I thought. And what we were talking about.
So which is your favourite?
I haven't looked at enough yet to ascertain which is my favourite.
So
but
I have to mark this.
You asking
incomplete? Incomplete.
Are you asking for an extension on this one?
I might need an extension until the next episode. Did you know that goalkeepers are the only people on the field that are allowed to wear tracksuit bottoms?
I didn't know that was a rule, but the only person I've ever seen playing with tracksuit bottoms as a goalkeeper was
there you go.
Gabor Karai of both Crystal Palace and briefly of Fulham.
I think Herrero Gomez and Dimitri Karim, I think they both...
and Neville Southall used to as well. That's going back a while.
And on the note of rules, we also discussed the Spygate scandal last episode. And I did do a bit of research as to what's been happening. So the latest update, as far as I'm aware, is that the FA has asked the Leeds United manager for a statement, and they're awaiting his response.
His statement, by the sounds of it, will just be, I sent a spy so I could get into it. He doesn't give a damn, does he?
No.
Yeah, I thought it would be funny. Did you see his press conference?
PowerPoint.
Where he did like a 74-page PowerPoint, explaining how he spied on everyone. He's won me over as a neutral. It's like, it's hilarious.
But we were discussing last week about what rule it would be in breach of, and even, was it Lampard? The manager of the other team is spying on, and he was saying it's just not English. It's just not how we work in this country. But I think he's got a point, because the rule that I think he's breached is this is in the FA rules, rule E3 or E7, subparagraph 5. Subsection A, it says
he really did read this, didn't he?
A participant, it covers all manner of people involved with football, shall not, directly or indirectly, seek to influence for an improper purpose the result, progress, conduct, or any other aspect of or occurrence in or in connection with a football match or competition. I think spying might be a breach of that rule.
Interesting.
So possibly,
because a lot of the coverage I've read is, he hasn't broken any rules. It's just a kind of general.
But have they read the rule book?
But they probably haven't delved into that subparagraph.
Yeah, I think that could be because I don't want to delve into the meaning of these things, but he was indirectly seeking to influence, or directly seeking to influence the result of the game. By spying on a team to find out their tactics.
But as a manager, he's always going to be directly seeking to influence the result of a game. That's literally his job.
But improperly.
Oh yeah, improperly.
For an improper purpose. And also, I was scrolling through the FA rulebook, and then it's section L. There's a general rule which says fair play in football means that everyone, and that's in capital letters, connected with football, blah 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 blah, behaves on and off the field in a sporting manner towards all others involved, be they players, officials, or spectators, irrespective of results. So he could be breaching that one. because it's just not cricket, is it?
There's a lot of championship clubs who are trying to lead a charge to get them a points deduction, but like interestingly, and not interestingly, obviously, it's all of the other title chasing clubs in the championship around them. Please take 10 points off of our rivals. Well, you know, maybe Spygate is going to be a theme for this
whole
year's
series
podcast, and we'll see how it turns out each week.
Can I also talk about something else that I found out? It's
Yeah, all right. I mean, you're very much messing with the
No, it's kind of a subsection of my homework.
Okay.
Just because...
Well, you didn't do your homework. We've
Didn't
worked
do your
that
homework
out.
because you wasted time
Can
on
I
this.
get an extra credit point for this? Because basically, I've been looking at a section. When I was looking at the rules, I found a section called disciplinary charges for teams and players.
Okay.
And I was scrolling through this, and there are some quite hilarious things. So, incidents of misconduct. So, the first one that I found, 4th of November 2018, a player called Sam Merson, who I believe is the son of Paul Merson, who I think is the presenter of Have I Got News For You? Is that right? He was playing in a match. He was playing in the Sun Postal Sports FC v Hughes FC in the Watford Sunday Football League, and it is recorded here that it is alleged that Mr. Merson failed to comply with FA Rule C1 in that he played in the above fixture whilst under contract at St Albans City FC, and that he played under the assumed name of James Beaumont, which amounts to improper conduct.
Whoa, that's interesting.
He still has to respond. The next thing I found, I've only got two more. The next thing I found was Jurgen Klopp on the 2nd of December 2018, in breach of FA Rule E3, is alleged to have entered the field of play in or around the 96th minute of the fixture.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was improper.
He scored against Everton.
See, alleged. We all saw it.
He was there.
Yeah.
He accepted it. It's an £8,000 fine.
The Wolves manager ran
Yeah.
off the pitch in the game against
That was against Leicester last week.
Leicester last week.
Yeah.
Last minute.
Same fine,
And but he also got a straight red card sent off.
Yeah, he did actually, yeah.
Bloody hell.
So was
But
Klopp not sent off?
Klopp wasn't sent off, but I think it was so. I mean, it was the 96th minute. Maybe he just forgot because there wasn't time. But he probably should have been sent off.
I think they said that they learnt from that occasion for this one, because I think the Wolves goal was in the 94th minute, but I think it's the Klopp situation created such a tabloid frenzy that they kind of the ref kind of said, I've learned from that.
Yeah.
As it's the same season, they should give a retrospective ban to Klopp, in my opinion.
Dock and points as well, I would say.
Yeah. And City while they're at it.
I think, but the most surprising allegation of misconduct, but for me anyway, as a non kind of insider, was someone close to your heart, Flan.
Uh-oh.
So on the 26th of December, Unai Emery,
My boy.
yeah, on the 26th of December, in their game against Brighton and Hove Albion FC, it is alleged that during the fixture, Mr. Emery's behaviour in kicking a water bottle amounts to improper conduct.
Yeah.
He was fined £8,000.
He kicked the bottle in frustration and it hit a fan.
It hit a fan.
Yeah, and it was an accident because he apologised, but he's
There you go.
he got slapped on
Took
the
one
wrist.
another soaking then, didn't
That's
it?
right. Yeah.
It must be exhausting working at FA. You think, just go to work, running, football.
Yeah.
Just have to come up with football rules.
Yeah.
And then you're like, man, just kicked a bottle. What do we do with this?
£8,000 fine for everything.
Start a new subsection.
So anyway, and I'll keep under review that Sam Merson thing, because that sounds like...
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't either.
Right.
So failed homework overall,
Yeah.
really.
No,
but you went on to do your own different homework, which a bit of an arrogant start, but it's fine.
Does that count? Did I get extra credit?
You haven't handed anything in officially.
That's what you were going to be marked against.
Yeah.
But
This is
I like
good
this
work.
very much.
Yeah.
This is good.
You need to stay focused.
Yeah.
But if you could do as much work
There are so
on your
many-
actual homework as you did on...
There are so many rules.
We've all got busy weeks, though.
There are so many rules.
Some of us have to edit the podcast. Some of us have to read the entire FA rulebook. Meps and Flan sleeping a lot of the time. So
we're controlling social media. I mean, that's been
something.
flying. So
I can assure you, I have a 2-year-old boy. I don't sleep very much at all.
It's FA Cup week.
Yep.
And wonder, Dave, do you have much understanding of what the FA Cup is?
No.
Well, perhaps it's time for us to teach you in what has been a pretty exciting FA Cup weekend so far. First of all, there's the local, in this room, derby of Arsenal United on Friday.
Oh, God. You weren't going to mention that, were you? Well, I don't know where you want to start.
Man U deserved the win, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're better defensively and they were more clinical going forward.
We went with the tactic of absorbing a lot of pressure, which we were doing under Mourinho, but we were actually counter-attacking. Yeah, the counter-attackings were kind of harping back to Fergie-esque days where we were getting the ball and just completely catching you off guard. And the interesting thing about it now is when Solskjaer came in and everyone was saying you got easy games, he's now won against Spurs away, albeit it was a close game, and now at Arsenal away, and he's actually instilling tactics in those games now, which it shows he's not just kind of telling the players to go out there and do something. He's actually, he put Lukaku on the wing.
That's unbelievable. I've never in a million years watched that.
But I mean, knowing that Kolasinac is good going forward, but not great defensively, Lukaku's fast. Lukaku's first touch and finish isn't great, so put him out on the wing and let him work against Kolasinac, and he absolutely terrorised him. So it was a bloody good game.
It was a good game. I will say Arsenal were a bit unfortunate because their centre-back pairing went off. So they basically had Mustafi as the only recognised.
Didn't Koscielny go off just into the second half when Lukaku caught him?
Was it 0-0 when Socrates went off though? But him going off, him and Koscielny were just starting to forge a bit of a partnership, and he went off in some distress, and then we bought on Mustafi, which I think I mentioned last week isn't an ideal situation. and then I think it went to 2-0. Then Arsenal got one back, and I WhatsApped you saying I thought it might be 2-2.
Yeah.
And then Koscielny, unfortunately. So we ended the match with a midfielder, someone who I'd barely call a centre back, and then Xhaka, who Wenger basically said can't tackle at centre back, and then our left back as well. So,
do you think that Arsenal made a mistake when they bought a defence entirely made of glass?
Yes, yes. And, I mean, they look nice, but it's entirely unpractical.
Not in this weather.
Yeah, exactly. It's not ideal really, but there you go. That's the way
you can focus on the league. You can focus on the league now, I guess.
Yeah.
It keeps rolling on now. So because I don't know at what point does Solskjaer not, his credentials for getting the job are just. I mean, we mentioned it last time, and last time we said we'll keep assessing him, and it's now 2 weeks later, and he's
still winning.
He's still not lost a game. So
Well, the next challenge will be one of the top two.
Well, we've got a horrendous February. We've got City, PSG twice, Liverpool, Palace away. So it's
that could be career making for Solskjaer.
Yeah,
and then after that, if he gets through that, I guess it's just can he win a cup this year?
Something I like about Solskjaer is he in his interview after the match said that he showed the team some of the famous goals against Arsenal prior to the match. So he was kind of saying, make some, historic memories like this sort of thing. So it was, because I think in the modern day, it'd be quite easy for a football player to not get, especially for Man United or Arsenal, to not necessarily be up for the fourth round of the FA Cup. So for him to say, look, this is a big deal. This is a big competition still. I really like that.
And he did his homework on He said he did his homework on counter-attacking goals as well, and how historically we've always been able to catch you guys off guard. Remnants of the Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez kind of goals in Champions League, and he's definitely putting the heart back into the club. So it's a long may it continue. Maeve, what do you think about Palace Spurs today?
Is it? Palace are going to win, surely, aren't they? Unless Spurs do.
Or it's a draw.
Or it's a draw.
Goes to a replay.
Yeah.
So Tottenham don't have any strikers at the moment, Dave. Well, they got Llorente, but
They should sort that out, shouldn't they?
exactly.
They've got what's his name, Janssen.
Janssen.
I think Pochettino put himself in before he played Janssen again. Don't see that happening. Right, so I guess we should get to what's different about the FA Cup. So, what do you know about the FA Cup, the structure of the FA Cup?
Well, I know that it's probably a cup, I presume, that they lift up at the end. The winner lifts up at the end. Although it's not a cup in the sense that I would recognise it. You wouldn't drink your tea out of it. It's kind of a...
I've seen people drink champagne out of the cup.
Oh, well, there you go. So, but it's a highly sought after cup. I'm not sure where in the whole scheme of things this cup fits in, because there's the World Cup, there's the European Cup, there's the Champions League Cup. Is it a cup?
Champions League, despite the name, is a cup competition.
It's one of the many cups that football teams can win. That's all I really know.
What do you know about how it differs from, say, a league?
I don't know. In fact, when Mep said you got to concentrate on the league, I kind of said, well, isn't it the same thing? But I'm sure you'll enlighten me. So tell me, what is the FA Cup and how does it relate to the Premier League and the other leagues?
It's the domestic cup, or one of the domestic. You've got the League Cup, which or the Carabao Cup, because of the energy drink sponsor. Other energy drinks available. So you've got the Carabao Cup, and then you've got the FA Cup, and it's the like English domestic.
Hashtag sponsorship welcome.
We are looking for sponsors.
We're all gathered round drinking a lovely Carabao drink.
I'm not going to sleep for weeks.
You can read that rule book now, don't you? It's the domestic cup of England, and it's for all tiers really. Obviously, the lower the tier, the earlier in the kind of qualifying you join. Majority of Premiership clubs join in the third round, which was the week of the 5th and 6th of Jan, I think it was, because when Fulham lost to Oldham, didn't they?
They did.
They did. Sorry about that. So it's just basically the English domestic cup.
So you can have different leagues, different teams from different leagues.
Well, yeah. For example, yesterday, AFC Wimbledon were played at home. They play their games in Kingston. They played West Ham in the Premier League. So you've got League One. So you've got Premiership, Championship, League One.
Yeah.
So they're the very bottom of League One. Yeah. They're 10 points behind the team below that, and they beat West Ham, who are in the Premier League, 4-2. So it's different. That's why it's the magic of the cup. That's why everyone loves the FA Cup.
It's a big deal for English teams.
It's the oldest cup competition in the world as well. So it's
this weekend, for like illustrating the joy of the cup, it's had two big cup sets: the Wimbledon, West Ham we've already talked about, and Millwall beat Everton 3-2.
That was a last minute winner as well yesterday. Yeah.
It was fighting after that game. I think
it was, and before.
And before, was it mainly before?
And I saw
probably during
video of some racist chanting, which is unfortunate because I think for a lot of Millwall fans who aren't mad, it was a big day. It'll be a big opportunity to get. I mean, I'm sure lots of Millwall fans would want Chelsea in the next round for what would probably be quite
a massive tear up,
quite feisty.
Yeah, the police presence at that game will be.
So let's hope they just get a nice Portsmouth. Trip to the seaside, lovely.
So you're not going to watch the Palace game later, Dave?
I might do if I get home in time. What time is it? 3 o'clock. 4 o'clock kickoff. Possibly. Where would I see it?
On the telly.
Is it on the telly?
Yeah.
I don't have Sky Sports.
I think it's on BT Sports. So
might have to trip to the pub.
Yeah.
You can take Fent the Younger.
Yeah, take your baby. You'll love it. Yeah, get him into.
Introduce him to the ways of Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
So, what did you have an understanding of the cup?
Well, no, that's really enlightened me. That's great. I mean, to an impartial observer, it seems that football is a case where if you pile enough money to a team, they'll do well. But the FA Cup seems to transcend that, and it is about the football. It's about the playing and the players.
And it's 90 minutes as well. So
yeah.
I mean, saying that, it's all of the recent winners are United, Arsenal,
But there's beautiful stories along the way.
But yeah, there's little.
So, yeah.
Okay, well that's been very helpful, chaps. So watch this space. So it'll be sometime in May. We'll have the FA Cup final.
Do another cup follow-up.
Yeah. All right. So what's next on the agenda?
Happy birthday.
Big day, yeah.
Happy birthday.
Exciting, mate.
Now people will know your date of birth when they want to hack into your bank account.
Maybe edit that out.
Neps, I've been meaning to ask, which road did you grow up on?
What's your mum's name?
When you were growing up, what's your first pet's name?
At the end of the podcast, someone stole my money.
So a quick update about what Fulham have been up to. Almost immediately after we finished recording last time, they were heavily linked with Ryan Babel, who completed signing the next day, and then has subsequently debuted in defeat against Spurs, where he was actually very good. It's almost like he's gone away and learned how to fix all of the things that were wrong with him at Liverpool 10 years ago.
He just needed to dye his hair.
Just needed to have bright red hair, and it's made him really good at football. So he looked great. As it stands, the Gary Cahill transfer is off. Victor Moses has gone to Fenerbahce, so it's not looking...
Well, you were linked with Scott Dan this morning.
He's like a cheap Gary Cahill. Cheap Gary Cahill.
You're just
a cheap Gary Cahill.
Talking to Scott Dan, Flan, you had a chant you made up for Scott Dan, didn't you, back in the day?
It's to the thank you, Meps. Yes, it's to the tune of the police song Roxanne. And it goes, I'm not going to sing it, but it's Scott Dan, turn on your red lights, like that, over and over again.
I think you should sing it.
Maybe later.
The thing at the moment, you're playing well, and then suddenly you're just at the point of getting a draw or snatching a win, you're just not doing it, and then you're conceding, and then you're losing games that you probably have deserved to win, and it's kind of, you haven't had that luck yet, so maybe that's still coming.
Maybe
but
it's
running out of time if not. So
yeah, I'm not that optimistic about it. There's actually one other big news story about Fulham. Abubakar Kamara.
Oh yeah,
being arrested at the training ground for actual bodily harm and I think criminal damage. So he, since falling out with seemingly everyone at the club, but since falling out with Alexander Mitrovic in particular, after having a big punch up during a yoga session, apparently. It's been relegated to...
Always gets you angry, yeah.
So apparently the story there is that he was talking during yoga and Mitro sort of told him to shut up because he was being disrespectful to the yoga teacher, and then it came to blows. And then, so he's been sent to train with the under-21s, and then apparently going to hash out his future at Fulham. He ended up punching a security guard and, I guess, breaking something, which is very much has settled his future at Fulham, I think, because it seems like he's being packed off to a Turkish club as quickly as possible.
Wow.
I know. Life comes at you pretty fast.
I've had worse meetings.
He's a crazy character. I sort of wish him well. It's not enough, like, maddos in football.
Well, someone told me, I don't know if it's true, but someone said that his number's 47 because of his initials.
Abubakar Kamara 47, AK-47. I mean, it's excellent marketing. It'd be better if he did score more goals. It's interesting seeing Ryan Babel come in because he's sort of just a supreme upgrade on AK because he is a player who can run at defenders, shoot from range, dribble into the box, but also understands the game of football.
Yeah.
And seems to have more of appreciation for what people need from players during a relegation battle, which...
he certainly, for his debut, he looked sharp, and I was surprised when he got taken off. I think that was more fitness, but I think he looked like if it's not a bad sign to try and get you out of the hole you're in.
It's not bad for 6 months.
Yeah.
And certainly I think he's going to do more in 6 months than maybe Abubakar Kamara is. So I won't necessarily miss him. Although, it is a bit of a shame it didn't work out. Yeah, so that's sort of the Fulham update, I think, for the last... It's been a week and a half.
Well, you haven't played, have you?
Well, exactly. Some, unfortunately, got a week off. A lot of players seen on Instagram in Dubai, having a nice little mid-season relaxation.
Okay. Not working.
Well, why would you? You're not in the FA Cup, so...
Winter sun.
I mean, they got given a weekend off.
If I get the weekend off, I just play FIFA.
Yeah, very similar.
They'll just play it in Dubai.
Yeah.
When they get a week off, they go to an office and do admin.
That's right. Nothing like more than getting stuck into a spreadsheet.
Couple of cheeky rounds of admin simulator.
That's right.
Transfers? Yeah. Higuain. Yeah, Higuain signed for Chelsea on an initial loan with the option to buy afterwards. So I think we discussed last time their striking options, and you mentioned Demba Ba, etc. But I think this is certainly an upgrade on that. But yeah, one of the best strikers that's been around for the last few years. So I'm a bit concerned, to be honest. I think he's...
Well, Chelsea have a habit of getting the best striker in the world and turning him into...
Shevchenko, yes. Torres, yeah. That's really true.
And it is a little bit... I mean, apparently he's having a very bad season.
Kesman.
At Milan, he was having a bad... one of his worst seasons of his career. Although he has also had his best season of his career was under Maurizio Sarri at Napoli. So
Arsenal are linked with the Inter Milan winger Perisic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
United were linked with him last summer. Yeah.
I'd certainly rather him than Carrasco, who we spoke about in the last time.
And there was also the big transfer news was Bournemouth signed Chris Mepham. So
there he is.
Everyone in the league is going to understand how to say my last name. And I'm not going to hear Mepham, Mopham.
No, is he related to you, Mepham?
Probably.
Yeah. How many Mephams can there be?
Yeah, so that was big.
Which road did he grow up on?
No comment.
Dave, what's your big question about football this week?
My burning question this week is, because I know how much you guys love your teams, your Fulham, Man U, Arsenal, but...
and you, Palace.
And me, Palace, sometimes. But the real question I have is, because you guys watch and support, in inverted commas, other teams, so I guess the question is, can one have a second team? If you're so passionate about your main team, can you have a second one?
I would say... Not really, no. I mean, you have you have passion for a team, and you love that team because you love that team. You know, I love United, and yes, like I said in the first podcast, I do have a Palace season ticket, but I go there with one of my mates who, to be honest, he didn't have anyone else to go with at the time. And for me, it's Premier League football every other week, so I get to see all the best players in the world playing against them, and obviously. If Palace are playing Man City or Liverpool or something and Palace score, obviously I'll get involved and cheer. But
so it's a strategic support.
For me, it's kind of, well, no, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. And, if they're not playing Man U, then I will cheer because you're amongst everyone and, you're amongst the chat, you're amongst the real fans who really, really, really care about their team. So, yeah, of course, you get involved in that. But in terms of an emotional side, no, I'm not emotionally attached to it. Or when last season, when Man U played Palace at Palace, I was sitting there and United went 2-0 down.
And you're presumably sat with a whole load of
Palace
fans.
Everyone was standing, jumping, going mental, and I was sitting there like with the "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend" kind of tune. And then we came back to 2-2, and then in like the 90th minute, Nemanja Matic scored a 35-yard screamer, and I was. I basically nearly shit myself, to be honest with you. I was just trying to hold everything in so much. It was. I think you can be interested in another team, or you can certainly appreciate another team. But I'm not. I wouldn't. I'd find it difficult to be emotionally attached to, like as I am to United, to another team.
So, Flam, what do you think?
I am of a slightly different opinion, but I agree in that you don't have the same emotional attachment with other teams as you have with your primary team. But there's a lot of... I've actually quite a few teams that I would consider second teams, if you like. So my local team, Merstham, they are doing really well this season in the 8th tier of football. And they've been described as the Brazil of their league. And, they're looking good for the playoffs, which is really good. I've also got a bit of a soft spot for Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. That was the first match I watched, was Sheffield Wednesday against Arsenal. And that was in 1993. I said the winner of that would be my team.
Yeah.
So very nearly a Sheffield Wednesday fan.
A lot of commuting there.
Yeah. I'd have seen considerably less games living in South London.
And fewer wins, presumably.
Yeah, that's right. And then there's teams abroad who I find interesting, like Sampdoria and.
That's what I mean. There's teams you can have like an affinity to, but like in terms of, I wouldn't be able to produce the same emotional response if they score as such. But
yeah. I think if you like football as well, there's a point where there are teams you just start to like. Like I remember really liking the early 2000s Wenger Arsenal when they were just playing this ridiculous continental football where everyone else seemed to be like they were standing still, and Thierry Henry was just the coolest man in football. You know, I still wanted Fulham to be club to have knocked their unbeaten record that season, but you know, they were just impressive.
Well, I say I always looked out for Charlton. I remember when they had their playoff game, I think it was Sheffield United, and Alan Kirbishley was the manager. And I just remember watching that game and thinking, I like this kind of thing. But again, it's you can have an attachment to it, but maybe not as
you're never going to get the same.
What about you, Dave? You got a second team?
Well,
just about got first.
I've really got first. I don't know. Arsenal. I always used to like Arsenal.
Yeah, I remember this.
When Henry was there, because it was the sexy football period. I still didn't really. I couldn't appreciate the game like you guys would have. Even I could see that Henry was a top footballer, and it was a beautiful game to watch. It was just interesting.
He got sacked this week as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't mention
What's he
that.
doing at the moment, Henry?
Well, nothing. He's just got sacked.
What was he doing?
He was the manager of
Monaco.
So they had a manager,
yeah,
and then they got rid of that manager. Henry came in, and now they have got rid of Henry and gone back to that manager. So it's like breaking up with an ex and then getting someone else.
Is it kind of a badge of honour?
Classic rebound.
Is it a badge of honour for managers to be sacked from teams?
No. Well,
Nothing.
I mean,
Depends if you ask their bank manager or not.
Yeah.
Certainly, there's something to be said about Jose Mourinho's ability to alienate everyone in his third season after signing a new contract, wherever he's gone. But
they get a massive payoff when they're sacked, basically.
Yeah. So that might be an incentive to do badly. Just get a payoff.
Might be. This was Henry's first job in club management, though, so he probably wanted to
impress,
do quite well.
Are Monaco quite good? Yeah.
Well, they have been good, but at the start of the season, Hardim, I don't know how to pronounce the old manager's name, said that he thought they were going to be relegated because they had sold a lot of their good players and the people they brought in weren't as good. Going back to the sexy Arsenal, I thought what we were going to be talking about was Vieira and Henry meeting as managers for the first time in a 1-1 draw, and turns out that was absolutely a footnote in this week for Thierry Henry. So that leaves us to move on to Dave's quiz for this week. But before we do, we're getting a lot of feedback on one element of the last podcast, and that is where you've got to in Queen's discography. So how's it going?
Well, I finished it, chaps.
What?
It took a long time, but they've got about 13 or 14 albums, and
didn't have time to read the rulebook though, did you?
Well, I was trying to read the rulebook whilst listening, but obviously the brilliance of Queen and the technicality of their music renders it a bit difficult to concentrate on anything else. But I can say I've finished all their discography up to the point that Freddie Mercury passed away. So technically, I suppose that is the end of Queen proper. There is also the sundry stuff with Adam Lambert, I think, from Free, and the Queen musical stuff and all the best ofs and everything. But I mean, still for me, I've listened to everything. But still for me, their first 6 also albums what do it for me.
It's peak Queen.
Well, it's kind of it's before they became like super huge, but it's when they started developing their own style. Their early stuff, first few albums, like it's really proggy. It's kind of 10-minute long guitar solos. It sound like Uriah Heep and Pink Floyd, but I quite like it.
All right, so a favourite Queen track?
Favorite Queen track. I don't know. I must confess, I didn't look at the names of half these songs. I just listened
just ploughing through,
through. But I suppose I don't know. Tiny Mother Down's quite good.
Right. And who are you moving on to next?
I might try the Rolling Stones. I mean, they're still going.
I've heard about this band, Rolling Stones.
Well, no, because Everyone's heard of it, but I haven't actually sat and listened to their entire discography, but I might do.
Oh, we'll need a Rolling Stones airplay next time.
That's it.
Yeah.
But next up,
Yeah.
it's your quiz, Dave.
Challenge Dave.
Do you feel like you've been concentrating this week?
I have been concentrating a lot more this week, yes. Yeah.
Here's your first question. Man United and Arsenal played each other on Friday.
Yes.
But how did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer inspire the Man United team against Arsenal?
He played them videos of when Man U beat Arsenal back in the day.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well done, Dave.
Famous goals.
Reliving,
Well done.
reliving past glories.
Following on again from the feedback on social media at Offside Traps, we'd like you to draw what you think the FA Cup looks like, because I don't believe you've ever seen what it looks like.
Using this picture of Gary Lineker as reference.
Right, so
If you want to quietly work on that while we give you the other questions.
So, how did Bielsa answer his Spygate critics?
He put on a press conference and he put on a PowerPoint presentation showing in excruciatingly minute detail how he spied and what he got from it. Yeah.
That is correct.
you're really there. You are actually listening, aren't you? This
paid
is weird.
attention.
It's going well.
Which team beat West Ham in the FA Cup yesterday?
Millwall?
So close,
Burnley.
so close.
Was it
No,
Burnley?
it wasn't Burnley. You've
We
gone
haven't even discussed
too far.
Burnley.
They've not come up at all.
haven't mentioned
I'm afraid it was AFC Wimbledon.
Is that going to be your second team, Dave?
Burnley.
Because he was on Match of the Day earlier. We were talking about it.
So, all right, and for a final bonus point, could you sing Flan's Scott Dan chant?
Isn't it just Scott Dan?
It's not a ringtone.
What's the rest of the lyric?
It's the Police's Roxanne.
No, I know that, but what?
Turn on your red lights.
Turn on your red lights. Yeah.
Then Scott Dan.
Scott Dan.
Turn on
Scott
your red
Dan. Turn on your red lights.
That's it.
Yeah.
Scott.
That's all you're getting.
There you go. That's all right.
Good.
Well,
Happy with that?
Give it a half
So yeah, that's
So that's
2.5.
Well, we'll have to put the FA Cup drawing up to
Oh,
Twitter to see your final score.
But what do you guys think?
I don't know. Given what you had to work with, I think it's quite good.
I really like that you've drawn a bottle of champagne for scale.
Massive.
We all know the FA Cup is famously enormous.
Well, isn't it large enough for football teams to bathe in champagne inside it?
They climb in like a giant jacuzzi. Good showing. I think you're definitely improving.
Yeah,
Paying more
Dave,
attention
You've been listening, that's for
this
sure.
week.
Burnley.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Now, obviously, you've still got last week's homework to hand in.
Yeah.
But this week...
But surely that homework could just be an ongoing one. And
It can be, but you're not going to get any marks for it. So this week's homework is, before we record the next podcast, it'll be transfer deadline day. One of the most important days in the year only really for Sky Sports News. And on that day, we want you to watch 30 minutes to an hour's coverage of transfer deadline day, ideally on a 24-hour sports news channel, and write a paragraph report
Okay.
on what happened in that window.
All right.
But also what you think of the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like,
what you
is it-
took away from it.
Okay.
Also,
Apart from the fact that it's all supposition and rumour. And
well,
That is transfer
but
deadline.
Don't write your report now. Right, well, that just leaves the last thing to do, which is decide on an episode title for this week. Cup sets.
Cup sets,
Cup
yeah.
sets is good.
Burnley.
Burnley. Hashtag Burnley.
Hashtag Burnley.
Hashtag second team Burnley.
Or hashtag Meps's first pet.
Hashtag identity fraud. All right, I think identity fraud might have it.
Yeah, I think so.
So please remember, if you're talking about this week's podcast on Twitter, use the hashtag identity fraud. Give us a like and subscribe on Twitter. You might have noticed that we're now on the iTunes/Apple Podcasts and on YouTube this week. So
There's no getting away from us.
it's really, you can consume this podcast wherever you want, so long as you make sure you give it a thumbs up or a subscribe or whatever other like positive star option there is on your podcast app. But that's it. It's time to say goodbye. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
And thanks for listening. How did Beasler answer
It's Bielsa.
Bielsa? How did Beasler?